Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I think we're going to start burning metal back onto this chassis, putting some stuff on it, but that's going to have to come second because the endless saga of my plow truck continues. Folks, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so seriously. It doesn't cost you a cent, and you can help me just in so many ways. And trust me, like I said, this is kind of devolved into, well, not even devolved, it just kind of is a short track racing kind of do-it-yourself channel. And this summer, we're going to be doing a lot of that. There's going to be videos galore of us racing and doing stuff. So please just get ahead of the curves, get subscribed. We're going to be doing that stuff. I've got a lot of other projects coming. If just in case racing ever goes away, we've got other things that we can do, especially automotive related. Tell your friends if you think they'd enjoy something like this. Tell your family if you think they'd enjoy something like this. Sit down with your kids, watch people learn how to do things. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but I'm getting kind of desperate. The subscriber counts kind of died, and I really could use that help. You know, it helps affect my reach for people and how I get sent out through the algorithm. And I wish I had the money to advertise. I really do, but that's why I'm desperately seeking subscribers on YouTube. But anyway, enough of the pitch. We got a bunch of stuff to do, and I'm kind of suffering through the cold because I didn't get a chance to go get gas for the heater. I think I still have some left. I'm not turning it on until I'm actually in here, but we got to get this damn plow motor put back on, and I'd really like to test it. But first, we're going to get the welder out because we're going to need that on the car anyway. We got to weld all these parts that I've cut free. We need to put them back together, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe the car will be different or better. Hopefully we get a chance to try it. I don't know, but I got to finish a fitting for this plow, which requires the welder, so might as well set it up. So for the plow pump, I think that one hose that was split, I don't think it actually does anything, because essentially I've got a right and a left, I've got a dump valve for up and down, and then I had this one where it was split and blown out, but I didn't ever see anything leaking. So I cut this off of the hose that blew off of it. I'm just going to weld that shut, stick this back on, put this back in, get a different funnel that, I don't know, actually works. I might have to make one. And then we'll throw this back in the truck, put some fluid in it, run it through its paces after I hook it back up, and pray to God that it actually does work and doesn't pour fluid out of it or just freeze up. And I'm going to have to cover it up again anyway. So let's get that going. Guess what, guys? It works. Except it doesn't. Yay! If it's not one thing, it's the next. Of course, it's the newest looking hose that is pouring fluid out of it. Terrific. I guess I'll go replace that too. Hopefully we got some time between now and the next storm. But the pump works. It's just a hose. We'll have to probably pull the pump back out in order to fix that hose. Wonderful. I should have replaced them when I did it, but I thought they were fine. Clearly they're not. Oh well. Now I'll just replace all three of them if I can find the right hoses. So if it ain't one thing, it's the next. So I guess we'll just shut this thing down and We'll hop in the shop. Okay, after about, hours worth of searching on Amazon to figure out that the hoses that I need, well, not just Amazon, all of the internet, to figure out the hoses that I need for those blown out ones on the plow truck, figuring out that apparently nobody makes a male end to a female end hydraulic hose anymore. I don't know why, but I guess I might have to custom make them. So getting to these, I'm going to have to figure out a way. I'm going to have to hammer this one in because I have to weld all the way around it. But I got to figure out a way to clean these up, and I don't think a grinder is going to touch it. I think what we're going to have to do is probably grab, like, I don't know, a drill or something with a little wire brush wheel and probably just kind of go around it and clean them up, because that's probably the only way we're going to be able to do this. And get those cleaned off, and then we can start welding. I still have a lot to cut off this car, like this lower thing here. We're going to cut those off and remake those, but that's not really the priority right now. Priority is getting the cage welded back onto the chassis. Then we can start working on other stuff. I'm quite an impatient person, so I got it as, well, good as we could. It's a MIG welder, so if there's any little stuff, I'll start with the cleanest part and just melt my way through whatever contaminants are there. It'll probably be fine. I also found like 4 different coats of paint on this thing, so there's a lot of, wow. I think it started as like white, then it went to blue, then it went to gray, now it's black. So, yeah. I wish I could just sandblast it and repaint it, but money's a factor. So, I'm going to start burning these back in. Oh, yeah, I got to do the one in there, too. It'll be fine. I'll just blow that one off. And this bar down here, this one here kind of went straight from here to the middle of the frame. Probably going to just, I don't know. I was thinking about just getting rid of it and replacing it with another one. Maybe one from the corner down here up. Maybe that would be okay. I don't really know. All I know is I didn't like it not being there. I like having it tied in. We'll figure it out. I might just delete that one and put one straight from here to the dashboard. I don't know. We're still kind of throwing ideas around what we want to do with this car. That probably won't be this video anyway, so I'm going to leave that one, but I'm going to weld all the rest of them on. Now seems like a pretty good time to take a break because I can't breathe. A little bit of paint left over, I guess. But I wasn't expecting to get this thing done all the way welded today. I just kind of thought, we'll get it prepped and ready. And, well, it's already welded. So that gets me a little further ahead of schedule, which is always nice. I see a lot of things I still got to cut off. I've already mentioned that. I only burned myself a couple times because I forgot where a couple of the welds were and I rested my hand on it. Luckily, we're wearing gloves. So I'm going to wait a couple minutes to make sure none of this garbage inside the car catches on fire, which I should have vacuumed out, I don't know, the first moment I brought this thing into the shop, but what are you going to do? Also, it is iRacing League night. So before I pass out from the fumes, I think I'm going to get out of here, let this dissipate, and I will hopefully come back tomorrow. Next day, and I think I'm sick with a cold, but doesn't feel too bad, just kind of annoying. It's not going to stop me from working. First things first, though, I need to prevent fire. This is pretty bad. This is real gross in here. Probably going to grab a glove, grab all of the big stuff out so it doesn't clog up my tiny little shop vac that I have. Get behind the seat and kind of get the leaves out, because I was welding and throwing sparks and stuff, and I was just waiting for this thing to go up. Granted, there's not a lot here to go up, so if I just kind of left it alone, it would probably burn itself out pretty quick. But you don't want to take that chance. So we're going to clean up. We got a lot of floor stuff to clean up as well because there's a lot of shavings and stuff. So I'll get that done first. Then we can start figuring out what we're going to do. But I think what we're going to really do is continue cleaning metal because there's a lot of stuff like these little pieces that kind of need to be just taken off. They're just in the way. They're excess. They need to go. Oh, I forgot a piece here. Did I weld that? Oh, I didn't weld the X-pipe back on. That's got to get done as well. So while I'm underneath hacking all the excess bolts and all this other hanger stuff off that I don't need, we can just do that too. So that's the agenda for today. Also, we're another man down. So I think I'm going to gather up all its dead soldier friends and probably take them to be refilled tomorrow. And if they won't refill them, I'll just drop that thing off at the, what's the place called? Blue Rhino refilling station or whatever the hell the brand is. Who cares? Probably at the Dollar General and have them deal with whatever the date is. And I'll get a fresh one for the $40 I pay. And I would buy the bigger tanks. However, I have a bigger tank, like a 40 or whatever. And I remember that cost me like $100. And if the date goes bad on it, I have to pay to get it checked. And it's like, I might as well just use the 20s because if the date goes bad, I just pay a little bit extra in an exchange place like your local store that has one of those little stations and just get a new one. It's cheaper that way. Refilling it's cheaper, but then when you need to get it serviced, like the date, no, we're just going to exchange it. It's not one problem, it's another, you know. There we go. But I got really tired of throwing sparks and breathing in the fumes. So I think I'm going to go move over to finding parts to put on this thing. Longtime viewers of this channel, and, well, frankly new ones as well, will know I am a hoarder. I hold on to every single thing that I possibly can. Ooh, look at that. That's brand new. We are not using that on this car. Sorry, we're just not. Let me see what we got in the old bins. Oh, man, I should have moved my welder. Whatever. All right. Grease gun with diaper. Yes, if you do have grease, it could separate. Hey! Shocks. Probably not using these because I got relocated ones. Oh, God almighty. Okay, what do we got in here? Front calipers, rear shocks, trailing arms, 1, 2, 3 calipers. Wonder where the fourth one went. I don't think we need that. Some rear shocks with no bushings. All right. That's good to know. What do we got in here? Broken bin. What are you? A random hose with 2 AN8 ends on it. Huh. You're going in the bin. A wing nut. Sweet. Okay. Trailing arm with bushings. And I boxed that one. Trailing arm. Sans bushings. Maybe I can find some. Rear shock. I think it's illegal for everywhere except for open races. We can use that. Improved geometry upper trailing arm. I did them myself, so you know that they're right. Another one. Oh, there's the fourth one. Look at that. Okay. Ah, there's a bushing. There's another bushing. All right. I'm going to stab those in that one probably. I think the only reason I wasn't using these lowers is because I thought they were bent. Who knows? So I got enough to put a rear end in. That's good. Here's a adjustable center link, which probably isn't legal literally anywhere. Idler arm, we're going to need that. Is this the other rear shock that I can't use anywhere else but here? Yes. 2 shocks, 2 sets of two trailing arms each. I think that's all we're going to get out of this one. Power steering pump V pulley. I think I tried to sell this for $5 at a swap meet somewhere. Clearly it didn't sell. Oh, that was a refusal by my body. Okay. Hey! Rear calipers. Probably need better hoses, but these are stockers if I need them. They're brand new. Self-tappers. Something else. I'll have to search through that one later, see if there's anything I can use. My hole saw. You know what? I'm just going to figure out where all this stuff goes later. Alright, I got a stock upper with metal bushings, a lower, 2 lowers. Alright. Oh. I think I know why this lower is in here. See that ball joint? I think they make a medication for a bent one like that. Call your doctor about Peyronie's disease if you watch football games or racing. Okay, behind door number 1, we have air cleaner, some spark plug wires. Yep. 1, 2, 3 sets of Camaro spindles, so I can really take the, whichever ones I want. Take the choice of the litter there. Let's see. Flywheel, clutch, pressure plate, water pump. There's my hubs. I've got 2 brand new Coleman safety hubs with brand new rotors on them, just sitting on the shelf. There's a bell housing, a whole box of Dash 8 fittings. There's a Dash 10, there's a bunch of Dash 6, there's a carburetor spacer, there's a spare carburetor over there. Hey, there's the old pedals. That'll help. I need 1 master cylinder, which I might fudge and just throw the wrong one on. But look at the pile of stuff we have. And like I said, if I'm not using it, what use is it of to me, right? The Camaro stuff, I switched over to Impala stuff. It's far more worth money as a roller than as individual parts. So even if I don't keep it, now we got something we can work with. That's a lot of stuff, and I got more. It's just that, well, I gotta find it. So I apologize for the amount of talking in this section, but this is kind of a lead up here. I got a transmission for it right there. I just need a mount for it. Like I said, we got the bell housing and the clutch package. I just need a throwout bearing or a hydraulic or whatever we're going to use with that. There's 2 rear ends over here. I got the full floater, and I got that one, which I think with that transmission and that engine sitting right there, which will work with that carburetor and whatever carburetor spacer plate I have. I think I even have a spare one that's Thompson legal if I wanted to make this car open competition and Thompson legal. They're really, really close around here, especially up in the Connecticut area because of, well, who runs the show now, and that's fine. I think that rear over there is the one I want, which is over in the corner. But getting it out is well man's problem, and I am not well. And the reason I want to use the stock rear is because, well, I think I have a mini spool I can put in it to help that out. And those cut down uppers that I showed you that I dragged out of here. They are to improve the pinion angle a little bit and help with your bite off and stuff, which I think it helps. I'm not sure if it really does or not, but I mean, it tricked my brain enough into thinking it helped, so I kept them. So I am, however, sick, and I caught the little cold that my kid had. It's not enough to stop me from working, but it's enough to be annoying where you're just like constantly working and, you know, you sneeze and cough and you got runny nose and stuff. And that doesn't look great on camera. I'll be back tomorrow, probably full of cold medicine, and we'll start piecing this thing back together. It's the next day. I'm gonna make my brand new set of insulated coveralls dirty. So I ordered a second set. Operation Get Propane has failed, well, for the most part, but I got the big tank filled and it has heated this garage up within about 15 minutes. All my 20-pound tanks are apparently out of date, so I need to go take them all to the Dollar General and have whoever exchanges them take them away for me and give me like 3 pounds of propane instead of 20. But you know, I'm sick of looking at this car the way it is. I'm gonna start compiling parts and we're gonna start just slapping together whatever I got laying around. If it's free, it's for me, and it's going on here. So here's my plan. I got those 2 lowers down there. I got a stock upper for the left front. Honestly, I don't care. It's free. It moves really well. The ball joint's fine. It'll be fine. We're only allowed to use stock length stuff anyway. I know it's not lighter, but it's free. And I have a few more outside that are stock that I might use, but probably not. I'll probably find a tube for the right front. Or maybe not. Depends on what the budget says. I gotta find a throttle. I got these lowers, like I said, but here's the thing. I found these ball joints. These are low friction that I kind of like these. These were really nice. And it looks like I just torched them out of a stock lower because I went to a Chrysler sized ball joint. I never had a problem with stock ball joints. And I have a brand new set of Camaro spindles that haven't been reamed out yet. So I'm thinking I might take those out, clean those up, press those ball joints out, find some bolts and start stuffing them in here. I don't know if those bushings have been drilled for 1/2 inch, but we'll figure it out. I don't even know if I have the right bolts or not, but I got a whole bunch of them. Yeah, that's not even 1/2 inch. Great. So we'll find some stuff and get cracking. Well, those ball joints came out, and let's see, which one is it? You can see that's oh look, it's straight. No, it ain't. So you know what happens when you assume? Yeah, that. I thought that the spindles I picked up were virgin spindles, but apparently they're not. They have been hogged out for 727 ball joints. That ain't it. However, I think we have about 15 spindles at my brother's house. So I think I'll just take all these and donate them to him because he still runs Camaro stuff. And I don't think he'll mind. I do have one that does fit. So I think I'll hang on to this guy right here. It is a left side. Looks like it. I think it's hopefully it's a big bearing because that's what I have hubs for. And I think I have some spare bearings. I can test the size on it. I'll get in touch with my brother. I'll be like, hey, here's, 3 sets of Camaro spindles, big bearing if you want. I know he has 727 lowers in his, so it's not like it's a huge deal. I'm just trying to use what we already have. And apparently I made an assumption that we already had those. So it is what it is. I'll go rooting through the buckets and I'll make him a donation when I bring his wood splitter back to him. But for now, we're going to have to start working on something else. I think we're going to have to start digging out that other rear end and getting some bolts and putting these trailer arms in, because I'd really love to have the rear suspension in this car so that at least that could move on its own. And then we can start working on the fronts. I know you all saw me break out the welder because I had a little bit of trepidation with putting press-in ball joints in, because I'm normally a screw-in ball joint guy. We used to do this back when we used to only be allowed to run stock style ball joints, because, well, a press-in ball joint, yeah, like on the street is totally fine, but on the racetrack, you're slamming into things and hitting stuff and doing a lot of really heavy loading. So if you had a ball joint pop out of your lower, that's a bad time. So I put a little bit of redneck Loctite on them, and they should be good to go, hopefully, if we can actually get the right spindles, which I'm sure we have. I just got to go digging in a shed for them. Found another issue as I was trying to stuff some bushings into this lower that I found. I got 3 lower, or at least rear trailing arm bushings. Here's one. Nope, that's not supposed to do that. Here's another one. Nope. Here's the third one. Nope, that's bad. So that just tells me that this thing got hogged out somehow, and now the bushings don't sit in it. That one's fine, that one's not. I have this one sitting here with 2 urethane bushing sleeves sitting right in it. I could just hammer 2 bushings into that one, or I could take this one that I found, press this out, push this one in, and fix this one so that they both match, because this one is factory. Not sure what to do yet, but I'm leaning towards just pushing this one out, throwing this one away, and putting this one in. That way, this will be functional, that will be functional, and it'll match everything I have. So I'll get to pushing this out, figuring that out real quick. You know what? That thing pressed in real nice, so I'm not going to complain at all. I just want to find the sleeve that I pushed out. I don't know where I put it, so that I can throw it away, because I don't want to deal with that. It probably got swallowed up by the... Oh, wait. There it is. Yeah, off you go. So now we got trailing arms all ready to go in. Everything's got bushings. We got shocks. I got a rear end over here that I will probably hurt myself trying to dig out. We can start working on this rear. If I have bolts, which, if you remember an episode I did a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, but last year at some point, where I found out that, hey, you know, you put the wrong size bolts in and everything was going like this in the car. Well, yeah. We're going to figure it out and see if I got any bolts to put this rear end in. Well, I might find enough. You know, 2 is hopeful. The hoarder strikes again. I got plenty of nuts and bolts to finish this job, and mostly grade 8, some not. It is what it is. I've run grade stainless, 0, whatever. I've run them before, never had a problem. They're half-inch bolts. Half-inch bolts are just strong regardless, even if you tighten them down. So let's start piecing this thing together. And we're shut down. I'm out of breath because I just hauled this rear end by myself out from that little cubby hole, up over another rear end, up over this chair, up over that transmission, up over that thing, up over that tank, up over that heater. It sucks not being young no more. I guess that's not an excuse to be out of shape, though. I got the trailing arms in, and I cranked the hell out of them, and they still move, which is... that's pretty good, I guess. Can't complain. It's only urethane bushings. I don't have any monoballs or nothing. But I left myself a little note on this rear end, because I think this is my Thompson gear. I left me a little note. Fix. Bent. Great. So now I got to figure out how bent, how bad. I mean, yeah, it might be bent just by eyeballing it. It might have to bring the tubes back a little bit. I think it's towed in just by looking at it. But shoot, I was ready to slap this thing in. Now I got to find some way to measure this and gain my breath back before I pass out. Shoot. Oh well. That doesn't stop me from doing the fronts though. We can always go drill those bushings out and make sure that they're ready to go, and I don't know, maybe find some bolts and slap the front lowers in. I'll have to figure out something for the uppers though. I mean, tubular uppers for these cars, if you buy them from like Speedway or eBay, God forbid, they're usually pretty cheap. We're talking $60 a piece. I don't know, but I got options. I could always run a stock left front, buy a right front, just because of the shot clearances. And these, I'll show you. Back in the day, we used to take these and just kind of set the caster camber and then just kind of zoop, whoop, right to this little bump stop mount. That way it gets shot clearance and just run it that way. But with how we run the right fronts, that's really very difficult nowadays because of how much that thing covers it and how much camber and caster we actually run. What is this? That probably just took my brand new suit apart, which is absolutely disgusting now. But we'll figure out something for the right front. And maybe I'll just buy one for the left front. I don't know at this point. We'll figure it out, but I think we can get these lowers done. I know that the lowers I drilled for 1/2 inch and they're straight. And we never bent this front clip the whole time we, well, I say that, but my brother bent it when he stuffed this thing in the wall off of turn 2 at Thompson once because I think somebody dumped a bunch of oil and they didn't catch it. And he went straight in. Then we got a clip put on it. So, and that was put on by the original person who built this car. So at least you know it was done right. And I haven't bent it. I just kind of boogered it a few times. I cut the hats off once and put jacking bolts in. And then I found other hats and put the hats back in because I wanted it to be Stafford legal. This was my learner car. But we'll figure something out for those uppers. But we got to drill the lowers because that's what I had to do with the other bushings to get them to fit 1/2 inch bolts. I got 1/2 inch bolts as we found, and what I got to do is just go through here, grab my drill, which is kind of tucked under the car, and drill these out. Oh, there's one done. I think being sick is starting to catch up with me because, yeah, it's coming together, but man, I'm starting to lose a little bit of energy here. I got cold medicine in me, but I'll be fair. Probably shouldn't overdo it. Meanwhile, I'm kind of sitting here taking stock of what we do have and what we need. There's little things that you just got to figure out, like, what do I do with the uppers? Do I just get a right front upper and just say screw it? Or do I get a tube one? I don't know. I have one, except it's been bent and then hammered back into shape and put in the drawer of the trailer as a spare. I also have another one on the left side that got bent and straightened that I use as a spare. So I'm wondering maybe I should just order some new uppers. I got ball joints, I just need the uppers. I don't know, we're going to figure that out, but I need little things. Like I got to weld that little piece back in there. I need a transmission mount, which not really sure how we're going to do that yet because mine's kind of custom. We need the spindles, which I'm pretty sure my brother has. We're going to need wheel bearings for those hubs, maybe? I'm just going to say yes because I don't have a clue. We're going to need stuff like a throttle. There's so many things to count that I might need that I just kind of want to start counting because it's going to be a little bit too much after I start thinking about it. It's not going to be a lot, but it's still going to be a lot. Does that make any sense? You know what I wish I had? I wish I had 2 of my little bump steer plates, because then I would bolt them onto this rear end and I'd just kind of measure like we had measuring toe, you know what I mean? That would make my life a lot easier, but I don't know what I can use except for wheels, and I don't know if those wheels are bent, and I don't know if I want to strap a piece of straight edge to it and see if that comes out straight. I don't know, but I know I got to straighten that rear. If I put a note on it to straighten it, it's likely bent. And I hope that it's the actual rear that I need, because last time I ran this car, I don't think I put the right gear ratio in it, and it wasn't very happy. These open motors that we build, instead of having the crate motors, they kind of like to live higher in the rev range because they don't make a lot of torque, just because of how they're designed. And that rear end will give me the gear ratio that I need, but it's bent, and I'd have to use that transmission specifically to try to get the ratio that I want, instead of having to buy another third member for my rear end that's for my floating rear, which will be like minimum $1,000, which I don't really want to put into that. So gear ratio is gear ratio. We're going to try to get this one straightened, but for right now, I think I'm going to take a break. I don't really have a heck of a lot I can do. We're going to try to come back out here tomorrow after I get back from work and see if we can get that rear straight. And if we can get it straight, it'll go in the car. Not sure about the other parts and spindles and stuff yet, but we're working on it. So I'll see you tomorrow. I lied. I feel fine. I just took a little bit of rest. We're good. This rear is actually not what I thought it was. It's a completely different ratio, which means that transmission is not going to be good, but all of my 150s are perfect for it. So that's fine too. I'm going to take a transmission that's outside and probably swap that one because the case is junk. But either way, this one says, I looked at the tag and it says left rear bent in. So that means it's towed in 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so I got the trucker chain out. I'm going to get the porta power out. I'm going to find some way of measuring this to be accurate, because I'd like it to be as accurate as possible. I'm probably going to use the bump steer gauge. Maybe I'll find a flat plate and trace out. You know what? That's not a bad idea. I have a plasma cutter. I bet you I have a flat plate outside. Why don't I go grab this plate and do a little bit of arts and crafts here? I got a table right here. There we go. We can take that plate, trace it out, and then use the plasma torch, which is just plug it in and hit the air hose, and cut out another one, and we can measure the toe off of this thing that way. That's genius. Why don't we try that? Yeah, that's not bad. We could probably use this to check the toe on my rear ends when we need to like straighten them and stuff. Because, well, let's be fair, I run into a lot of things. So this plate was just kind of hanging out in the yard. I don't know where I got it. It is thick. I don't know what it is, but it is like the same thickness as this plate. Probably quarter-inch plate. So, oh boy, what's happening here? Oh no, I'm getting oil all over it because my jack on the bump steer gauge leaked all over the place. Well, I'll get the brake clean out, some paint markers, mark this thing out, and maybe I'll just leave it in place and like just buzz the outside of it with the machine. Well, I don't want to hurt this one, so I think we'll just mark it out first. And then hopefully we can use it to check toe. That would be really cool. I make a mess or what. So I got the secondary plate plasmaed out. I ground down the edges as best I could. I got a little bit more to touch up right there, it looks like. I might grab the old flap disc and clean this up just one more time. But I also hogged out the bolt holes here just to make sure that a 5/8 stud will fit and we can get that flat up against the plate of the axle or front end if we're going to try that, but whatever. I figured this is a pretty effective and easy way for me to check toe. I can just throw this on both sides of the rear end, throw a tape measure down it, and see what it says. So I'll finish cleaning this bottom one up with the flap disc, but boy, am I tired now. So I did a little bit of straight edge work on this one just to make sure that it was straight, and it was a little bit heat checked in the middle, so I kind of tapped on it with a hammer until a straight edge was completely flat across both sides. That one said completely flat across both sides as well. I'm just going to go with it. So we're going to measure outside edge, see what it says, and maybe that'll tell us a little something about what this actually is. So let's throw this tape measure across. I found this in the road, by the way. It was a brand new Stanley Fat Max, and it looks like it fell out of somebody's truck just once because it only had a little bit of road rash on it. Pays to be on the streets all the time. All right, 58 1/4. Let's go to the front. Get that edge right there. Okay. 58 and 5/16. So it's actually, I must have had a bent wheel on here because it says it's a 1/16 of an inch towed out. Bigger number in the front means it's towed out. Bigger number in the rear means it's towed in. Why don't we do this? Because I think this has an open differential, so we can probably spin it to see if an axle's bent or something. Let's just do this. Yeah, she does have an open carrier in it. All right. Let's get it as close as humanly possible. That looks pretty good. Fire it back across. 58 1/4. Go back to this. Huh. Let's go all the way to the end. Now it's saying 58 1/4. That's weird. So we're within a 1/16 of an inch of toe, even rolling it over. I'd say it's actually straight, guys. What do you think? Measured it as 1/16 out the first time, flipped it over, and it's dead nuts. Maybe it's got a little bit of warp in one wheel or one axle. I don't know. I think, though, it's probably good enough to go in. I might try holding one of these still and rolling the other side completely over just to see what it says. Who knows? But for now, these measurements are saying that it's actually pretty straight. Almost straight enough that I wouldn't even bother and just throw it in the car. That's going to have to wait for another day, though, because my cold medicine has completely worn off and I'm exhausted because I've been out here all day, because I wouldn't allow a cold to slow me down. If I was working today in my normal job, I probably would have gone to work. I'm tired of being sick and letting it affect my life, but we got a lot done today. See you tomorrow. All right, back again. Since the rear seems to have measured out straight enough, I only really have time today to kind of put it in. And I hate putting stock 7.5-inch GM 10-bolt rears in these cars because, well, they're a pain. They don't have a flat bottom. So when you stick it on a jack to roll it in, it just falls off. And you're right back to square one every stupid time you try to do this. Sometimes I put a little flat plate of plywood underneath it. Who knows if that works. But we're going to shove it under here and throw some shocks on it just to hold it in place. And then we'll have at least a rear axle in it.
it's starting to become functional again. I'm starting to think about braking and brake lines and all sorts of other stuff like, well, fuel. I need to start putting notices out on like Facebook or any sort of social media to see if people have parts that I need. Like, I could use a nice fuel cell. People would scoff at me if I said a nice used fuel cell, but I might buy that new. Let's see. I need just the little stuff that comes to mind that I forget about. Brake rotors. I have a set of brake rotors that I could use with these 10-bolt rears. Problem is it's kind of reserved for my spare Stafford rear that's kind of under a pile of springs that I haven't put away yet. But I know what kind of rotors to get. I already have pads. They're up in this drawer up here. So that's not a big deal. I got calipers. They're sitting over there. So I've got spare stuff. It's just the little things, like that. So the list is coming together. I think I've got a fuel filter at the other shop that we aren't using. Maybe I can grab that, or I'll just get another one. I'm going to need a set of headers, which I don't have spares of, unfortunately. But I'm just kind of going through the list and thinking about stuff right now. I do have some obligations that I have to take care of today, so I have to cut today a little bit shorter than I wanted to. If I run out of things to do because I don't have parts, we could always throw that transmission together and have that ready. Otherwise, we'll figure it out tomorrow. Next day, and my last remaining 20-pound soldier is dead. It is what it is. And apparently all of them are past the inspection date for getting refilled. So now I have to take all 3 of them to the Dollar General and say, hey, you guys take care of this instead of me. But my 40 is back. Hopefully I can just turn that on when I need heat in here, but it is getting pretty frigid. I'm looking around for stuff to do. I have a few ideas because I don't really have a lot of parts that are really necessary to getting the car put together, because I kind of need the spindles. I kind of need the uppers, which I've got an idea of what to do there. I need brake lines, which I might have. I need the pedals mounted, which I actually have one set of them. I do need a second pedal set, which I might have at the other shop. So I'm trying to take inventory as I'm walking around here thinking about what to do next. I think we might just start on pedals and routing some brake lines, because that's going to need to be done too. So I apologize for my voice as well. I'm still sick. So I'll probably fire this heater back up pretty soon, because this garage evaporates heat without having any insulation in it. And is that a mud dauber nest inside? Whatever. If they're here, they're probably freezing too. So I think we're going to start on that. I'm going to go and wipe out all the old brake lines and such and start just kind of mocking in some new stuff, because I've got some brake line that I don't want to use on street cars. Let's see here. Yep. This fake stuff. See, it's supposed to be copper. It's not. Which means I need to go find that listing on Amazon and give them a really terrible review. Because I put this stuff on my plow truck thinking it was copper and it was going to stop rust. Well, it's not. It's rusting before I even put it on anything. So it's not copper. However, since this car doesn't see any rust, it is still a steel brake line. So I guess I can probably use it for this. I'm going to try to look around for some fittings. I don't know where they would be. But we're going to be rerouting and redoing all the brake lines. That'll probably be it for this video, because I got to get to ordering parts, or else you guys aren't going to have one for next week. Now, like I said, I got my old pedal set here, which there's a lot of other stuff attached to it apparently. I'm redoing any line attached to this. We're not going to run the way it used to be. We're going to redo everything. So I'm going to probably pull these off. I don't think that fitting needs to go on the front one, but the rear master, I'm going to change the fitting because I have a bunch of them that I can change it to now. And we're going to just start routing lines. I think these still have fluid in them, so I really kind of be careful. But let's get this out, cleaned up, oil it up a little bit, see where it goes. Oh, hello, whatever random handle you are. And let's see what happens. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I don't even know why I took the pedals out in the first place. I wasn't going to use them in the new car anyway. I should have just left them. But I didn't want to leave them outside in the weather either. So as you can hear the humming in the background, my dehumidifier is running. That's why I leave stuff in the shop. But that's fine. Pedals are back in. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut this video short. And I'll let you know why. Well, I'm kind of wheeling and dealing right now to get rid of some parts in exchange for some other parts. And I'm just waiting for a reply, and I might have to go out and take a bit of a drive to go take care of that. So I'm going to cut this one off here. I got to go inside and order parts anyway. I'm still making a mental list, and I got to hop on like Rock Auto and Speedway and a whole bunch of other cheap places I can find some stuff. So we got to at least get some more parts so that I can continue doing this. I gotta go to my brother's for spindles and maybe a gas pedal. I'm gonna ask him if I can raid his stash a little bit just to see what he has. I also have to edit this video. I gotta put together a true crime podcast. I've got so much stuff going on that I'm like, okay, gotta take care of all that stuff first. So thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. The workload is not slowing down, but we're slowly getting there, and as soon as we start getting parts, we can really start making progress. Tell your friends if you think they'd enjoy something like this, and subscribe if you haven't already, because like I said, it's free. Just a click of a button. It can help me out a ton, because getting subscriber base, even if you don't watch the videos, at least that'll help me get to the algorithm, and Google or whoever owns YouTube can at least start sharing my videos to other people, and maybe they'd enjoy them, and maybe you guys can go along for the ride with me. In a few months, we're going to be going racing full-time at Stafford with the new car, which is currently safe in the trailer. And then video production is really going to ramp up. So thank you guys again. I greatly appreciate it. Until next time.